I can't count how many times I've been in a deadly knife fight over whether Star Trek or Star Wars is better. The funny thing is, I've been on both sides of that knife fight. I like Star Trek and Star Wars, and I love knife fights. Knife, 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 knife. But in one particular sense, Star Wars Andor clearly beats Star Trek, and that is... Andor has a gritty, cynical, and largely realistic view of how government works, whereas Star Trek's wildly optimistic view of public servants is actually more of a stretch than warp drive technology, or Stacey Abrams becoming president of Earth.
Are you ready for that?
Star Trek assumes virtue. Andor assumes incentives.
I'm being paid.
What?
Yeah, I'm here for the money.
Star Wars exists in a universe where people still have ambition, self-interest, petty bullshit, and occasionally pop amphetamines to get work done, like me. Imperial intelligence officers struggle to get an accurate view of their own resources because the chain of command is riddled with self-serving lies and the cover your ass principle.
We don't know when it was taken because Steerguard was afraid to disclose its theft and thought they could hide its absence.
I wouldn't trust anything coming out of there. They'd never admit anything's wrong.
Who put fish in the microwave? When Cyril Karn approaches his boss about 2 murders in the red light district,
tough case.
His boss doesn't leap into action and track down the killer like Angela Lansbury in Murder Lady.
Stop.
Cyril's manager instructs him to lie on the report to make the jurisdiction look good.
I want you to conjure a suitable accident. And let's make sure it's on the far side of the plaza. Let's get it outside the leisure zone.
But they were murdered.
I suspect they died rushing to aid someone in distress. Nothing too heroic. We don't need a parade. They died being helpful.
It's almost enough to make you quit visiting the red light district. Almost. That sort of thing happens in real life, especially in authoritarian regimes. In Cambodia, under the Khmer Rouge, the government never had any idea how much food was actually being grown because local bureaucrats lied to make themselves look good and avoid getting shot. Starvation was rampant. But the cover your ass principle affects all governments, even democratic ones, influencing information up and down the chain of command. Yet, nobody in Starfleet or the Federation ever thinks that way. Nobody's ever thinking about how to score a promotion or get appointed ambassador or avoid getting fired for taking amphetamines. Everybody's constantly focused on competently achieving the mission.
This is the 24th century. Material needs no longer exist.
We work to better ourselves and the rest of humanity.
The needs of the many outweigh
the needs of the few.
Or the 1.21 gigawatts! Despite snappy space Nazi uniforms and a rhetorical commitment to peace and order, the various Imperial flunkies in Andor are more concerned with interdepartmental turf wars than they are with protecting the Empire.
She's demanding the raw data from the incident on Ferrix.
The Starpath unit that was recovered at the scene has been traced to a theft at an airbase under my jurisdiction, sir.
She's overreaching to increase the size of her portfolio. She should spend more time on the security at her bases and less furthering her career.
Terry, we're at a toner in the copy machine. I'm pretty sure that's your job. Nobody's asking, what's best for the Empire? They're asking, how can I win this meeting? That sort of thing happens in real life, even for the good guys. In World War II, American General George S. Patton and British Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery hated each other and repeatedly made strategic moves just to make the other guy look bad. When they invaded Sicily, Patton pushed his troops extra hard for literally no strategic value. He just wanted to get to Messina before Montgomery and throw a parade.
We don't need a parade.
A year later, Montgomery overpromised his airborne offensive through the Netherlands because he wanted to outdo Patton's dash across France. Patton petitioned Eisenhower to give him more gasoline, or as the British call it, cricket, at the expense of Montgomery. And Montgomery lobbied Churchill and Eisenhower to sideline Patton in favor of a British-led advance. And remember, these are the good guys from 2 allied, friendly democratic nations who speak Christ's English, facing off against actual Earth Nazis.
Nazis. I hate these guys.
Okay, just one quick knife fight, and then we're gonna get back.
No.
Heck, come on.
No.
Come on. Nah!
Love you. Fuck that guy.
In Andor, public servants fret about overtime.
He's on his way up.
Is he even allowed to approve overtime?
That's his problem.
Not if we don't get it.
Whereas in Star Trek, and this happens repeatedly, officers routinely have to be ordered to go on vacation.
Our captain needs a vacation. A week's shore leave.
Impossible.
I could make that an order.
Now that man will go ashore on my orders. What's his name?
James Kirk.
Starboard watches transport inspection.
Enjoy yourself, Captain.
They're just so dedicated to their job, you see. They don't even think about vacation.
I have absolutely no intention of taking a holiday. Is that clear?
Very clear.
That's not how real life works. Everybody wants more vacation. Hey, I know you're busy. I gotta take off. I got a pickleball thing. I'm gonna leave early, so I'm just gonna knock off. All right. There's a parking space that opens up. I would take that. Thank you. I haven't even worked at Reason a year yet, and I've already stolen $300 worth of paper clips and coffee creamer, and I've taken 2 months of maternity leave. When Los Angeles caught fire last year, even more than usual, its mayor had skipped town to Ghana for vacation. Sorry, not a vacation, a taxpayer-funded diplomatic envoy. And that was after she'd promised to stop her world gallivanting to, focus on being mayor. When she returned, the fire chief blamed the inferno in large part on the mayor cutting the department's budget. Then, the mayor blamed the fire department's unprepared leadership and fired the chief. Then, the chief rushed to Messina to throw a parade, which just meant more cricket on the fire. I don't know who was right or wrong. But I do know that A, Los Angeles is hideous, and B, nobody there wanted to take the fall.
This bickering is pointless.
You never see that sort of petty bickering or careerism in Star Trek, because again, in Star Trek, everybody is selfless and competent at all times. Whereas in Andor,
they've misspelt ferrex.
God damn it, when's this printer gonna work? That's a lot more like real life. Like the time we lost a $125 million Mars probe because NASA confused metric units with Christ's English, or the time Pete Hegseth sent war plans to a journalist using an app I used to send nudes to Pete Hegseth, or the time America accidentally lost a nuclear bomb in North Carolina. Yes, that really happened. Andor operates in a universe like our own, subject to public choice theory. Pioneered by James Buchanan, who was awarded a Nobel Prize in Economics in 1986 for his contributions, public choice theory is politics without romance. Not romance in the sexual sense. Politicians have plenty of sex in airport bathrooms and cannon house broom closets. No, the romantic vision of politics is noble public servants who run for office for the common good, bureaucrats who are competent and efficient at solving problems, and voters who are well-informed, rational actors, carefully weighing their civic options to the betterment of our elected government. Public choice theory, on the other hand, says that politicians are, despite being politicians, still technically human. They probably do care about the public good, but they also care about status and climbing the ladder. Which means we're probably going to vote for that Death Star and pay for it by printing space money.
For a safe and secure society.
The vast majority of the time, when confronted with doing what's right for the country or getting reelected, politicians err on the side of not losing their job. They think it's better for me to make a bad vote and stay here in Space Congress and fight the good fight than to make a principled stand and lose and get replaced by some idiot Wookiee, person of Wook, who would just throw money at a Sarlacc. Bureaucrats do want the Empire to succeed. And they also want job security and bigger budgets. They resist attempts to curtail their influence or cut their funding, even if it would be better spent elsewhere, such as building a cool bullet train to our beloved Sarlacc pit. And unfortunately for democracy, voters are too busy or ignorant to make informed decisions, so they tend to default to tribalism, partisanship, or emotional rhetoric. Now, that's not to say democracy's worse than other forms of government. It is my favorite form of government, other than the ones in which I am Galactic Emperor.
I love democracy.
But it does mean, given the inherent limitations of the electorate and the self-interested politicians who represent us, we should carefully limit what elements of life we allow democracy to control. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm feeling argumentative about Star Trek Discovery.